confidently living through just about any survival situation. Is survival or gardening, off-grid living, medical knowledge, or even natural or man-made EMPs on your list of personal concerns? You have your documents and your personal information in a safe place, in your hands, where you know where it is. Well, check out our preloaded EMP-proof thumb drive. Over 3 gigs of survival documents and how-tos, plus USDA offline food preservation website, and much, much more, including a surprise bonus we just can't tell you about. With plenty of room left over to store your most important documents. Imagine if a megavirus or a computer failure took out your bank, or all the banks for that matter. Are your banking records safe in your hands? So when they get things fixed and repaired, you can say, hey, look, this is what I had. You have it. I want it back. Is your personal data safe? Family records, addresses, phone numbers? Squeeze on over to freedomslips.com. Yes, that's www.freedomslips.com. Click the banner on the homepage for the EMP-proof bullet drive. Get the full scoop of everything that we offer. So, folks, keep your data safe for your peace of mind. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here. Revolution Radio. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. 100% listener-supported radio. But now we return you to your host.
All right. We're back. You are listening to the Free American. Matter of fact, let me do a little intro for the second hour, and perhaps we'll take phone calls. No phone calls from idiots. If you've got something, if you can be an answer, if you've got something to contribute, I'll be glad to listen to you. If you want to ask stupid questions that deserve no answer, don't come around, get out of my room, get out of my life, and I don't need non-productive people making trouble or that aren't providing answers. And, you know, most people are just...
see a new world coming into view.
Display.
A world in which there is the very real prospect of a new world order. The new world order does not mean surrendering our national sovereignty or forfeiting our interests.
And if you believe that, I got a little bridge in Arizona to sell you.
He took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States of America. By some, he's been called controversial.
How can I convince you when you're here? You're still here. You turn your heart away from me each time that I've gone here. Your eyes refuse to meet with mine. They glance away in fear.
Now, keep in mind that some of my guests have been approached by Homeland Security or FBI saying, why are you going to the Clay Nelson show?
I messaged to those guys and listened this morning. Go get a cup of coffee. Maybe you'll learn something.
We both took the same oath. You know, to defend the Constitution against all of the foreign and domestic. I don't recall there being an expiration date on that.
Well, it doesn't show. How can I contain the design defenders pain? Knowing that it's alright, blinded by the light.
He is the free American, Clay Douglas.
Blinded by the light. It's your right.
Catch the Free American weekdays at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern.
Every time I think about the damage that's been done, the anger goes inside me till I'm almost overdone. I want to tear the moon out of the sky and drop the sun. Why you running so old? I got the only sun.
For the podcast, and more details, visit www.freeamerican.com or catch the podcast by phone by calling 832-999-8621.
All right, we're back, and maybe I'll take a call, maybe I won't, maybe most of you, or a lot of you, if you're new to this channel, if you're new to listening to me, maybe you're not aware that we're in a state of war. I've told you that over and over again. The people that I've had on my show, just had on my show, are looking for answers. They're looking for ways to do something. And they're doing it. And what I talked about 15 to 20 years ago on my shortwave show is being done now. The Ithaca hours, the mountain hours, and the growing a garden in your backyard. This is all working. It's happening right now, and it's happening across America. But you're not really aware of it, because the elitists that bought up all of the media in this country aren't telling you about it. The truth is that there was a coup d'etat in America, and I came across a article from a regular of mine. I published him many times in the Free American. His name's Dr. Paul Craig Roberts. And I pulled this article out because it's really what we just gave you in this first hour are answers. It's how to take this America back and put it in the hands of the people who deserve it, whose country it is. You don't want to be the next Palestinians, but that's the plans they have for you. Dr. Paul Craig Roberts says American people have suffered a coup d'etat, but they are hesitant to acknowledge it. The regime ruling in Washington today lacks constitutional and legal legitimacy. Americans are ruled by usurpers who claim that the executive branch is above the law and that the U.S. Constitution is a mere scrap of paper. An unconstitutional government, folks, is an illegitimate government. The oath of allegiance requires defense of the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. This is an oath that I took. This is an oath that I took when I was 17 years old. There was no expiration date. And yes, you idiot, yes, we are in a state of war. Somebody get rid of, never mind, I'll just ignore this ass that comes in to haunt our rooms to ask questions that don't make any sense whatsoever. So, thank God we got a ignore button here. We'll do that. The basis of the regime in Washington is nothing but usurp power. And my former guest, the guest on this first hour, Wayne Walton, who has created a way to defend yourself from this power that does not like to be bound and tied down and constantly works to free itself from restraint. The Obama regime, like the Bush and Cheney regime, has no legitimacy. Americans are oppressed by an illegitimate government ruling, not by law and by constitution, but by lies and naked force. Those in government see the U.S. Constitution as a chain that binds our hands. Now, we're also in the New World Order is worldwide, and it's doing It's doing it right now. The South African apartheid regime was more legitimate than the regime in Washington. The apartheid Israeli regime in Palestine is more legitimate. Taliban are more legitimate. Muammar Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein were more legitimate, says Paul Craig Roberts. Only constitutional protection that the Bush-Obama regime has left standing is the Second Amendment, a meaningless amendment considering the disparity in arms between Washington and what is permitted to the citizenry. No citizen standing with a rifle can protect himself and his family from one of the Department of Homeland Security's 2,700 tanks or from a drone or from a heavily armed SWAT force in body armor. Like serfs in the Dark Ages, American citizens can now be picked up on the authority of some unknown person in an executive branch, thrown into a dungeon, subject to torture, without any evidence of being presented in a court or any information to the person's relatives of his or her whereabouts, or they can be placed on a list without explanation that curtails their right to travel by air. Every communication of every American except face-to-face conversation in non-bugged environment is intercepted and recorded by the National Stasi Agency, from which phrases can be strung together to produce a domestic terrorist. If throwing an American citizen in a dungeon is too much trouble, the citizen can simply be blown up with a Hellfire missile launched from a drone. No explanations necessary. For the Obama tyrant, the exterminate human being was just a name on a list. The President of the United States has declared he possesses these constitutionally forbidden rights, and his regime has used them to oppress and murder U.S. citizens. The President's claim that his will is higher than law, and the Constitution is public knowledge, yet there's no demand for the usurper's impeachment. Congress is supine, the serfs are obedient. Be a good slave. Don't rebel against your masters. The people who helped transform a democratically accountable president into a Caesar include John Yoo, who was rewarded for his treason by being accepted as a law professor at the University of California, Berkeley, Bolt School of Law. Yu's colleague in treason, J. Scott Bybee, was rewarded by being appointed a federal judge on the U.S. appeals for the Ninth Circuit. We now have a Berkeley law professor teaching and a federal circuit judge ruling that the executive branch is above the law. The executive branch coup against America has succeeded. The question is, will it stand? Today, the executive branch consists of liars, criminals, and traitors. The evil on earth seems concentrated in Washington. And every single 7 deadly sins are being committed today. That's envy, greed, gluttony, lust, pride, sloth, and wrath. Washington's response to Edward Snowden's evidence that Washington, in total contravention of law, both domestic and international, is spying on the entire world, has demonstrated to every country that Washington places the pleasure of revenge above law and human rights. On Washington's orders, the European puppet states refused overflight permission to the Bolivian president airliner carrying President Morales and forced the airliner to land in Austria and be searched. Washington thought Edward Snowden might be aboard the airliner. Capturing Snowden was more important to Washington than respect for international law and diplomatic immunity. How long before Washington orders its UK puppet to send in a SWAT team to drag Julian Assange from the Ecuadorian embassy in London and hand him over to the CIA for waterboarding? On July 12th, Snowden met in the Moscow airport with human rights organizations from around the world. He stated that the illegal exercise of power by Washington prevents him from traveling to any of the 3 Latin American countries who've offered him asylum. Therefore, Snowden said he accepted Russian President Putin's conditions and requested asylum in Russia. Now, associated Americans and the young, unaware of the past, don't know what this means. Paul Craig Roberts said, during my professional life, it was Soviet Russia that persecuted truth-tellers, while Americans gave them asylum and tried to protect them. Today it's Washington that persecutes those who tell the truth, and it is Russia that protects them. By the way, some of your best information is coming from Press TV. It's coming from Iran's news services, because your mainstream media has been bought and paid for by the banksters. You donated $1 billion to the banksters media companies. You gave it to you thought you were giving it to your Republican and your Democratic candidates, but all of that money went to buy ads for their choices of candidates. The American public has not, this time, fallen for Washington's lie that Snowden is a traitor. The polls show that a majority of Americans see Snowden as a whistleblower. And the majority of Americans are starting to realize that Clay Douglas has been telling you the truth all along. And his guests have been telling you the truth, and that's why he's been attacked. That's why they've got asses in the chat room trying to distract from any of the information he's trying to get. Let's talk about something totally irrelevant. Is that right? Is that did he do? Is this? This is a standard Jewish style attack, control of the media, and perhaps I'll play one. Ken O'Keefe, who I believe I had on to it. He's been attacked by an Israeli Mossad plant that makes all the talk shows, and I had him on 2 years ago, and he attacked me for having the protocols of the elders of Zion on. When I wouldn't remove it, he attacked me the same way he did Ken O'Keefe. So maybe I'll even play that for you, except it's just kind of disgusting to listen to him, so maybe I won't. Is not, according to Paul Craig Roberts, it's not the U.S. that is damaged by Snowden's revelations. It is the criminal elements in the U.S. government that have pulled off a coup against democracy, the Constitution, and the American people who are damaged. It is the criminals who have seized power, not the American people, who are demanding Snowden's scalp. The Obama regime, like the Bush-Cheney regime, has no legitimacy. Americans are oppressed by an illegitimate government ruling, not by law and the Constitution, but by lies and naked force. Under the Obama tyranny, it's not merely Snowden who is targeted for extermination, but every truth-telling American in the country. Told you I have the canary in the coal mine. It's happened to Snowden. It's happened to the gentleman whose Mercedes was blown up. And by the way, Mercedes don't blow up when they hit a tree. It was the Department of Homeland Security boss, Janet Napolitano, who recently rewarded for her service to tyranny by being appointed Chancellor of the University of California system, who said that Homeland Security had shifted its focus from Muslim terrorists to domestic extremists, an elastic and undefined term that easily includes truth-tellers like Bradley Manning, Edward Snowden, and Clay Douglas, who embarrassed the government by revealing its crimes. Operation Watchtower. In my book, Mystery Babylon, I did this over 20 years ago. I put it in a book 2 years ago. The book is available at shop.freeamerican.com. You can read the whole book for $10. You can read the whole thing, and then you can get a signed hard copy if you want. It details how I have been attacked, who has attacked me, where since I started the militias in New Mexico to protect children like the 17 that were killed in Waco from these criminals. And the criminals who have seized illegitimate power in Washington cannot survive unless truth can be suppressed or redefined as treason. If Americans acquiesce to a coup d'etat they will have placed themselves firmly in the grip of tyranny, and of course that is happening right now. Now, there's talk about martial law. There's talk about Russian troops here. Foreign troops have been here forever. We talked about it 15 years ago when I watched German troops walk through Walmart and wave their hand over a scanner, and they're paid for their food at Walmart with their chip in their hand. That's coming to you too. And what I'm trying to tell you is martial law, it's been here since the Civil War. Martial law ain't nothing to be worried about, because every time you see a cop in your rearview mirror, you get that little tingling. You get that little tingling what you gonna stop me for? What am I gonna? Well, that's a revenue collector, and he ain't real bright, so be very careful. They don't allow anybody with a substantial IQ to be an officer in the Army or a police officer. And what is really happening here, and you might ask Crow about the prison system, how much are their stocks going for? How much of the private prisons, the prison industry in the United States is either big business or a new form of slavery. Human rights organizations, as well as political and social ones, are condemning what they call a new form of inhuman exploitation in the United States, where they say a prison population of up to 2 million, mostly black and Hispanic, are working for various industries for a pittance. For the tycoons who have invested in the prison industry, it's been like finding a pot of gold. They don't have to worry about strikes or paying overtime, unemployment insurance, vacations, or comp time. All of their workers are full-time and never arrive late and are absent because of family problems. Moreover, they don't like the pay of 25 cents an hour. If they don't like the pay of 25 cents an hour and refuse to work, they're locked up in isolation cells. There are approximately 2 million inmates in state, federal, private prisons throughout the country. According to the California Prison Focus, no other society in human history has imprisoned so many of its own citizens. The figures show that the United States has locked up more people than any other country, 500,000 more than China, which has a population 5 times greater than the U.S. Statistics reveal that the United States holds 25% of the world's prison population and only 5% of the world's people. From less than 300,000 inmates in 1972, the jail population grew to 2 million by the year 2000. In 1990, it was 1 million. 10 years ago, there were only 5 private prisons in the country with a population of 2,000 inmates. Now there are 162,000 inmates. It is expected that by the coming decade, the number will hit 368,000. So what's happened over the last 10 years? Why are there so many prisons? I have told you, folks, that if a man with a badge can walk up to you and say what's that in your pocket, son? What's that in your pocket? Oh, that smells like marijuana. Is that marijuana? Whoa! Well, you're gonna have to do some time. You're gonna have to go to jail. You're gonna have to go to court. The private contracting the prisoners for work incentives fosters incentives to lock people up. Prisons depend on this income. Corporate stockholders who make money off prisoners' work lobby for longer sentences in order to expand the workforce. The system feeds itself, says a study by the Progressive Labor Party, which accuses the prison industry of being an imitation of Nazi Germany with respect to forced labor and concentration camps. Oh my God, does that mean Alex Jones is right? The prison industry complex is one of the fastest growing industries in the United States, and investors on Wall Street. This multi-billion-dollar industry has its own trade exhibitions, conventions, websites, mail order, internet catalog. It also has direct advertising campaigns, architecture companies, construction companies, investment houses on Wall Street, plumbing supply companies, food supply companies, armed security, and padded cells in a variety of colors. According to the Left Business Observer, the federal prison industry produces 100% of all military helmets, ammunition belts, bulletproof vests, ID tags, shirts, pants, tents, bags, and canteens, along with war supplies. Prison workers supply 98% of the entire market for equipment, assembly services, 93% of the paintbrushes, 92% of stove assembly, 46% of body armor, 36% of home appliances, and 30% of the headphones, microphones, and speakers, and 21% of office furniture, airplane parts, medical supplies, and much more. Prisoners are even raising seeing eye dogs for blind people. Now, according to reports by human rights organizations, these are the factors that increase the profit potential for those who invest in the prison industrial complex. Jailing persons convicted of nonviolent crimes and long prison sentence for possession of microscopic quantities of illegal drugs. Federal law stipulates 5 years imprisonment without the possibility of parole for possession of 5 grams of crack or 3.5 ounces of heroin, or 3 to 5 ounces of heroin, and 10 years for possession of less than 2 ounces of rock cocaine or crack. A sentence of 5 years for cocaine powder requires possession of 500 grams, 100 times more than the quantity of rock cocaine for the same sentence. Most people who use cocaine powder are white, middle class, or rich people, while mostly blacks and Latinos use rock cocaine. In Texas, a person may be sentenced to up to 2 years imprisonment for possessing 4 ounces of marijuana. In New York, the 1973 Nelson-Rockefeller anti-drug law provides a mandatory prison sentence of 15 years to life for possession of 4 ounces of any illegal drug. This is why I'm also telling you, folks, that the police state began with the theft of hemp as our #1 cash crop. Now we got it back in 1 state. We got it in 16 states. If you go to your doctor and you bribe a doctor in the medical profession, you can get a prescription to allow you to smoke something that God gave you. Now, in 13 states, the 3 strikes laws, that's life in prison after being convicted of 3 felonies, made it necessary to build 20 new federal prisons. One of the most disturbing cases resulting from this measure was that of a prisoner who, for stealing a car and 2 bicycles, received 3 25-year sentences. The Federal Bureau of Prisons was established in 1930 to provide more progressive and humane care for federal inmates, to professionalize the prison service, and to ensure consistent and centralized administration of the 11 federal prisons in operation at the time. Today, the Bureau consists of 100 institutions, 6 regional offices, a central office headquarters, 3 staff training centers, and 28 community corrections offices. The regional office and the central office provide administrative oversight and support to the institutions and community correction offices. Community correction offices oversee community correction centers and home confinement programs. The Bureau is responsible for custody and care of approximately 154,000 federal offenders. and approximately 130,000 of these inmates are confined in Bureau-operated correctional institutions or detention centers. The remaining are confined through agreements with state and local governments and through contracts with privately operated community correction centers, detention centers, and prisons and juvenile facilities. The Bureau's most important resource is its staff. Approximately 33,000 employees of the Bureau of Prisons ensure the security of federal prisons, provide inmates with needed programs and services, and model mainstream values. The Bureau's employees help the agency meet its obligation to protect public and provide safety and the safety of the staff and inmates in its facilities. The Bureau protects public safety by ensuring that the federal offenders serve their sentences of imprisonment in institutions that are safe, humane, cost-efficient, and appropriately secure. The Bureau helps reduce future criminal activity by encouraging inmates to participate in a range of programs that are proven to help them adopt a crime-free lifestyle upon their return to the community. Most of the challenges affecting the Bureau today relate to the agency's growth, and I've already told you about that. This is the danger that we're facing right now. This is they are creating a police. It's again, I use Ayn Rand's quote from Atlas Shrugged. The government has no control over honest citizens, so they have to make criminals out of them. This is what the drug laws are about, and they've tried to make all of the pot smokers into criminals. They've tried to make anybody that uses any kind, and it's the government that's bringing it in. I mean, we've discovered that, we've proved that, and of course they've tried to kill people like that blew the whistle on that, like Barry Seal, like me. Now let's look here. These prison systems, federal prison systems, it's a joke. It's the gulags. It's what the gulags are all over again. How do we change it? We can't change it by fighting, because if we try to change it by fighting, we get thrown. We become one of the prisoners again. It's a little insane. But it's a police state. What do you expect from a police state? These cops are being, and they're doing more to try to turn you against. This is what the Occupy movement. The only thing they showed you about the Occupy movement was not cops protecting protesters. It was protesters taking a crap on a police car. It's the way to fix this, and it's actually going to be sometime in the future. The way to fix this is abolish all the laws against victimless crimes, and I wrote about that 45 years ago. So it was almost science fiction then. Almost science fiction. But today, 16 states, you can smoke marijuana without going to jail. And one state now, you can grow it, you can use it, and you can have fields of hemp. legislation is in the Congress. Again, I don't want to be discouraging to you here. I think we are making progress. I think we're going in the right direction. I think there's mountain money, there's some mountain hours, this Ithaca hours is a reasonable, sensible, pretty safe way of taking it back. How can we fight the Federal Reserve if we got a pocket full of Federal Reserve notes? Here's your answer. Mountain hours. Mountain hours. Hey, the number, call-in number 347-688-2902. The federal prison system, this is the FEMA camp. They've been, since I was in prison in the 60s, they've built a lot of new prisons. They've used prisoners to build new prisons, and they keep asking for more tax money, $50,000 to keep somebody in jail for having a joint in his pocket, for doing something that was harming no one. We have to abolish the laws against victimless crime. We have to stop this. Christ, I hate legalization of drugs. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because they use that. What do you got in your pocket, son? That's your police state in action. I don't know why people have a hard time understanding that. I don't know. It's amazing to me that you would do that. Again, the number is 347-688-2902. Let's get back to this whole prison system. If we start concentrating, I really think we've got an answer here. If we do this county by county, we get the sheriff behind us to protect us. We've got 300 constitutional sheriffs that joined Richard Mack's organization, CPSO, I guess, Constitutional Sheriffs and Police Officers Association. It's linked on my website. Now, over the last week, I've been putting all this information together. Yeah, we got to store some money there. We got a way to supply this. We've got people out there. I've got the sources for solar film. I've got and we got the heritage seeds. We just picked up more for our backyard. We just found out that we can have 7 chickens here in the city without any hassles. So we are making some progress here. This plan for Liberty Villages, this is not just my plan. This is just saying that the information I've given you over the years is accurate, and it's being put into place. There are people in their backyard. There are people growing food in their backyard. There are people that can do this, that are doing this, and it can work in your neighborhood. By the end of this week, I will have flyers so that you can take to your neighbors and say, hey, look, something new is going around the country. Thought you might be interested. Here, check this out. Not looking to take over, not looking to replace anybody. I'm talking about ignoring the people that are inconsequential, ignoring the parasites, ignoring the vampires out there. It is a way to change things. And, you know, keep in mind this. Think about this. I want you to think about this. The neighborhoods you're living in, the neighborhoods you're in, we carved out of the shit, out of the farm. We carved out of the ranch land. We carved out of the open areas. We carved it out. We made our neighborhoods. We did our developments. We sold out. We sold whatever we had to. We sold land. We took the family farm, and we made it into neighborhoods. We can remake it. We can turn it back. And this is what the co-op situation is. What's your skill? Can you build boxes? Can you repair cars? Can you manufacture biodiesel? They got these little units, by the way, that'll take your waste and convert it to diesel. There's little units in some of these catalogs. We're going to put together all of that information for you. We're going to put this together for you. So here's the connection. Here's the phone number. Here's how much they charge. Are they working with the Liberty Village hours? Are they working with the mountain hours? Are they working for the Ithaca hours? Depends on what section you're in. We do it county by county. Not a problem with it. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem working with the sheriff. I work with the sheriff, from Sheriff Mack down to Sheriff Larry Deaver, who they murdered. And they're going to continue to do that. We have a coup in effect. We have communists. Communists are Nazis. Communists are fascists. Nazis are Mossad. And the fact is that the bankers are the Rothschild. They are the people that have done this. And they've arranged this. They've done this, and they've been doing it for 100 years, well over 100 years. During Napoleon's revolution in France, they were active. The evil is always around us. But we've got a choice. We actually have a way. The internet now is a way to communicate. Just a little more advanced than the telephone. Not a problem. It's something we can use to our advantage. But if we're going to solve this, if we're going to solve this problem, it has to be done in our communities, in our neighborhood. You've got to get it out and start targeting your neighbor. They have tried, and one of the things that I just watched with Ken O'Keefe and some Jewish Mossad type, they are putting us down to keep us separated, to keep us apart, to keep us fighting among each other. They feed off of your fear, so we can't be afraid. We do have an answer. We do have a currency. We can use it. Can you build a solar panel? Can you make a windmill? What can you do? What do you know how to do? What can you produce? What can you make in your garage or in your backyard that's valuable? This is the whole basis of this hours currency. It's based on your label. It's based on your knowledge. I got books to sell. I got books to sell. Under the new co-op, you'll be able to buy them at Mountain Hours. If You can build solar. You can repair a Harley. You can fix a car. You can make a carburetor. But just remember, can't tell anybody if you're getting over 70 miles to the gallon. Can't tell anybody. They'll come after you for that. They've done that to my father-in-laws. They've done that. Start providing our own food. Don't wait for it to be delivered by truck from Mexico. We should have started this 10 years ago. Some of us did. Some did. And I've also tried to tell you, Obama's idea of greening America. Obama's idea of greening America is sell the top of that mountain over there to a Japanese company or a Chinese company so they can come over and put windmills on there and brag on the media, we're creating green energy. Look, we got all these windmills. But is that saving you any money? Are you saving any money out of that? Or are they charging you more because they had to go green? Are they charging you more because they had to shut down coal plants? Are they choosing you more because they wanted to build a multi-million-dollar nuclear plant here with all its dangers? And my idea of greening America is to turn every roof into a power generation system, windmills or solar panels, passive heating so you don't have any controls. Start turning those vegetables, picking up the grease from the McDonald's, and when you sell them the eggs. (347-688-2902) is our number. We got about 10 minutes left. We can do this. I just don't want to. I want to rebuild American pride. I mean, my grandmother had a victory garden in her backyard. She had a pantry full of canned goods, skills that we've forgotten. I can't do it. I don't know how to can. I'm not a very good gardener either, but I bet my neighbor is. I bet my friend is. So if we work together, hey, tell you what, you can use my backyard to start your garden. If we can fix this. I firmly believe that this can be turned around. And it won't take much. We're talking about one growing season here. Now's the time to do it. Should have done it last year. Now we'll do it this year. And if you want to sit and argue and ask stupid questions or that have no real answers and no point, go somewhere else. Don't come around people that want to be productive, people that want to do some good, people that want to change things. Or you can just do what one chapter of the Bible, the Pauline Christianity chapter of the Bible suggests: be a good slave Don't rebel against your master. Master, don't rebel against your master. Say what? Just had a nice meeting with Harold Rome. I suggest you listen to him. Got his book. One of his books. Great meeting. Nice to see a highly intelligent man being productive, writing books about what's happening. Now, what I'm telling you right now, we've got the ability to do this. I couldn't have done it with Revolution Radio. I couldn't have done it with Genesis, GCN. Couldn't have done it. But because Mike Nighthawk has created Revolution Radio, we've got a platform to do it. We've got a platform to do it. We don't have to fight them. We can just stop supporting them. We can just become self-sufficient. And what the one thing I can do for you, the one thing that the co-op will do, here's the phone numbers, here's the contact, here's the email, here's what they want for their information. There's one company that's got a video out there for $37 that tells you exactly how, supposedly, but I haven't seen it, so I don't know yet, how to set up the fish farms, the aquaponics, and so you can grow your own fish, grow your own, and the fish fertilize, and it's a nice little system they got set up. They say you can do it for under $190. And if you put in the work yourself, if you do the work yourself, you can probably do it for $190 or less. If you want to pay somebody to come out and do it for you, if you don't want to do it yourself, you can do that. You can do that. You can put your neighbor to work doing that. But we're talking about developing your little section of the universe and doing it by cooperating with our neighbors, even if they're several states away. Don't put fresh cow manure in your garden. Well, we'll have people, Nairok, Heisenberg, that know about gardens. They can't do that. And I thought it was pretty unique. I just went to Lowe's yesterday to buy packaged cow shit. I mean, excuse me, we're doing what? I moved to Texas, and we have to go to Lowe's to get cow manure. But it was Texas cow manure. it was the genuine Texas cow manure for those tomato plants and for the strawberries that are going into the garden. And as far as this idiot in the chat room, I watched this whole chat. He's never asked a sensible question. Why would we refuse? Would it be better to ask? Who's claiming I own a seatbelt? Nobody cares about your seatbelt. If I could ban somebody, I would ban this idiot for the rest of the year. So unfortunately, I can use ignore and simply get rid of him. And we have gotten rid of people. This is a weeding out process. The people that can't be productive and don't want to contribute in your neighborhood, just X them out. Just X them out. That's it. Ignore and work with people that will work to build something, a better future for your children and my grandchildren. God bless you all. See you tomorrow.